I'm here with James Osbourne, and I want to thank James for coming to talk to us. James is another one of Elvis's friends, and he's going to tell us a few stories. We'll start off with, where did you live when Elvis was here in Tupelo?
Well, I lived up by the school, just back of us here, about half a mile, something like that.
What's the name of that school?
I can't even think of it now. They've changed the name of it.
I think it's Lawhorn today.
There you go. Yeah, it's like Lawhorn.
Yeah,
sure is.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I went there, and they've changed the name of it, and you hardly ever hear it anymore.
The old name? Yes, sir. Yeah.
Then I moved to Tupelo, up in the other side of Tupelo, at Milam School.
Milam School. Okay.
And then his daddy lost this house here.
Yeah.
And they moved to another house, and they didn't stay there long. They moved over on Green Street.
Green Street.
That's up behind Milam School.
Okay.
And we got together again and started running around together again.
Sweet.
At Milam. And at times, after my brother, my brother wanted to see him and talk to him, and I let him go with me up there one time. His mama let me go.
Yeah.
Let him go. And we got up there, and he wanted to sing.
Elvis wanted to sing.
Yeah, he go around singing sometimes, you know, just humming.
Humming.
Yeah, and so I got him up there and talked to my brother, and my brother said, if I can teach him, says, I'll let him be on my program. So he sung Old Ship and God Bless My Daddy on it. Later on, my brother worked with him quite a bit, and he got him on there and done a good job.
Now, your brother had a radio show. What's your brother's name?
Mississippi Slim.
That was the stage name.
And he is on WELO in Tupelo.
All right.
And then he left here and went up to Nashville after.
Oh, I see.
After Elvis and them started moving out.
Yeah.
But Elvis would, when he sort of learned how to sort of beat on the guitar, he wanted to come and sing for the teacher. That's after his mama bought the guitar.
Right.
And he brought his guitar and put it in the classroom there, and every day at dinner we'd all go eat dinner, and teacher said, if you go eat dinner, come back, and said I'll let him sit up there on his desk and play the guitar and sing. So he'd sing Old Ship and God Bless My Daddy.
In class?
In class.
In class, okay.
Sitting up on top of the desk.
Oh, I'll be darned.
And I thought he'd done good myself. And everybody would just gather around him, and they're still gathering around him, ain't they?
Yeah, they are. Just a much bigger crowd these days.
That's right.
Much bigger crowd. Yeah.
He was great. He was great.
Yeah.
I liked him real well because he never fussed at you. He always agreed with you and everything, and I just thought he was a great kid.
Yeah.
I loved to be with him.
Cool.
And we went places. We went up in Shake Rag, and that was back to the behind you, and we'd walk up in there, and of course some of the blacks and the whites was fighting back in them days, you know.
Oh yeah.
And there's a little black boy that I knowed real well, and he said, I'll get y'all up there. And we'd go up there and sit on the porches at the store, the big store, and we'd sit on the porch, and they would play all day long up there.
The black singers.
Black singers would play and sing all day long.
Oh, I'll be.
And Elvis sat there, and he would just clap his hands and sort of sing along with them, you know. And
oh boy.
he got that black music sort of that way, and he got the country music from my brother and from the preacher where he went to church.
Now,
he helped him some too.
The preacher could sing?
Yeah, he sung and also played the guitar too.
Okay, all right.
And he got a lot of music from him.
Oh.
And of course, I thought it was pretty nice. One thing that my brother said, I went in service and come back, and when I come back from service, Elvis had done moved to Memphis. And brother says, you know that boy that I let be on my program and sang? I said, you talking about Elvis? And he said, yeah. I said, Elvis has put a record out in Memphis and said he's going to the top. I said, I can't believe it. Said, do you remember what I said about him? And I said, no, I don't. I said, that Elvis had a good voice, but he couldn't sing, couldn't keep a tune worth a flip. And says, I'm going to have to go and apologize to him. And about a year and a half later, I guess close to 2 years later, my brother come back through Memphis, and Elvis happened to be there.
Oh.
And he went up and he talked to Elvis's uncle on the gate. And he said, sure, said Elvis is here and he'd like to see you. Said, let me call him. And he called him, and Elvis said, send him up, send him up. So he went up there and drank the beer with him and sung with him, and they played. He said, Elvis, I got a thing to tell you. And said, I'm going to apologize to you. And he said, what for? And he told him that story.
Yeah.
It said Elvis just fell over the table laughing about it, you know.
Well, not everybody can get it always right.
No, yeah, my brother said, that's something. Said, I never would have dreamed that he had made it that big.
No, well.
He was just going to the top. Every time he put out a record, he'd go to the top.
Yeah, yeah. It must have been unbelievable. Must have been.
It sure was.
Yeah.
And it's still, you know, like there at the school, kids was gathering around him, and people still gathering around him, even though he's dead and gone. But he'll always be remembered as a good guy.
What kind of things did y'all used to do when you weren't singing, when you wasn't singing? What sort of things y'all used to do?
Well, we used to go fishing together just a little bit, not all that often. We'd go fishing together down here in this little mud creek back to the behind us here. He would fish a little bit, and then he'd get tired of fishing, and he'd go out and wade in the water a little bit. He'd pull his pants off and his shoes off, and he'd go out in the water and wade around a little bit, and I'd get out there with him, and we'd keep water on each other and everything. And when we come back in, his mama said, what come you so wet? And he said, well, we got to throwing things in the water and wading a little bit in the water. She said, you know better than that now. Said, you know you ain't supposed to be in the water unless I'm with you. And she said, oh, well, said, he's a lot older than you, and said, he'll watch after you.
So you were the watchdog, you were the...
Yeah. And he was just a good boy, and his mama was a good woman, too. She was a great woman.
Well, James, you went to both schools with Elvis. So how was he? Was he a good student, average student? How did he do there?
Yeah, he was a real good student, and I think he couldn't have been no better. Of course, he was about average, you know, of not a real excellent student as far as his book work, and but mine was about the same as his. we talked a lot, and of course we done good. We passed, and that's the main thing, you know, is passing. Elvis was up there pretty high. He was better than I was, really.
Yeah. So you loved to fish. You did a little fishing with Elvis, a little swimming with Elvis. What other kind of things did y'all do together?
Well, I'd put him on my bicycle, and he wanted to go around through town, and I asked his mama, could I ride him around on my bicycle? So I would put him up on the bars. I'd put a little pad on the bars, and I'd set him up on that, and he'd hold on to the handlebars, and we'd ride all over Tupelo. Back then, there wasn't much traffic, and you could ride pretty good without any problem. And we'd go around and to the different places, and a little cafe. We didn't have much money, but we'd sit there, you know, and drink us a drink or something, and then we'd get on the bike and go somewhere else. We was bad to go to the movie together at the Lyric Theater.
Oh, really?
And to tell you one little story that I thought was real good about Elvis, we went to the Strand Theater. That was an old theater. And there was some girls sitting in front of us, and Elvis liked them girls, and I did too, and we'd talk to them, you know, and we was sitting there, you know, watching the movie and sort of whispering to them, and all at once there's some big old gopher rats. Them big old rats come running across the front of them girls. They come over the seats on top of us, and Elvis grabbed hold of her and hugged her real tight, and he just died laughing. It just thrilled him to death. And Of course, them girls said, take me out of here, take me out of here, you know. And he said, I got you, I'm gonna run them rats off. But they didn't stay, they just run across the top of the seats and left. But he said, he come out, he said, how'd you like that? I said, oh, pretty good. He said, I liked it. Said, I don't know who them girls was, but they liked me.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty neat.
That's the only time you wished for rats in it.
Yeah. Oh, we was all the time doing things like that. And
well, riding a bike with, he's sitting in front of you on the handlebars, is that kind of not safe? Can you see around him to see where you're going or anything?
well, the way he was sitting and everything, I sort of leaned to the right and he was sitting back to the left, see, sitting sideways on the bars and holding on to the handlebars. And of course then it was real good traveling, because you didn't have you could ride on the blacktop, and it didn't have no cars much. Just now and then a car would come by you. But man, it's different now.
Yeah. Oh, much bigger town now.
Yeah, his mama let us ride like that. Of course, we'd get into town, we'd ride on the sidewalks, you know. Yeah. In town, but we'd go up to Duty's Diner. That was a little old freight car like it they'd made into a cafe at the other end of town. And we'd go up there and eat a sandwich or drink us a drink, and then we'd head back or go to the theater. You could get in for about a quarter. At one time it was a nickel. Get in the theater to see a movie.
A nickel.
Ain't that something?
A nickel.
And at times they'd have it like that. But we'd go to a movie and everything, and then we went to the fair together. We didn't have no money much, and we went to the fair together, and he made his picture at a place. He put a cowboy uniform on like and made his picture, and then I put the same uniform on and made my picture. It didn't have but one uniform, and so we couldn't make them together. I wanted to get them together, but they just had one uniform like that at the place where they made pictures. And of course mine's in the book up there, and his was in that book, but I think they left it out the last time they printed it. Oh. And accidentally left it out. They didn't know what they did. But we'd go around like that, and then we'd go in there to the fairground like and just walk around, because we didn't have enough money to do nothing with, except maybe to buy something to drink, or sometime we'd have enough money to buy something to eat. And we'd just stay for 4 or 5 hours, and we'd come out. Yeah. And we'd go back to his house and let his mama know that we was back. She wouldn't let him go much nowhere hardly. But she would with me, because I was 2 years older than Elvis. And what reason I was 2 years older than Elvis and got with him is because my mama had cancer when she was 30 years old. And she would, they said that she wouldn't live for about 40 days and nights. They said she wouldn't live through the night. And they had her on a respirator and everything, and she had colon cancer, and they got it all though, and she pulled out of it and lived to be 92. I couldn't hardly believe that. My daddy never was sick a day in his life. He died at 76. But you never know what God's got in store for you, you know. No. And of course, me and Elvis, me and Elvis that put us right in the grade together.
But you lost some time at school. You had to stay back.
I lost 2 years. Oh. Daddy took me out because I couldn't study, and that gave me 2 years behind.
2 years behind.
Yeah. So that put me right in the grade with Elvis.
I see. Well, James, we're talking about the fair. What about the famous show at the 1956 fair? Did you get to go to those shows? You know, Elvis did. He was a star this time. He was a star.
I didn't get to. I didn't get to go. I'd just come back out of the Army. I'd been in Korea and everything, and I was going to school to try to finish my high school, and I didn't have no time off. from working, so I didn't even get to go.
You missed that one.
And I hated it so bad. I started once to quit my job and go, and then you know, later on get me a job back somewhere else, but I didn't. I needed the money too bad at that time.
Oh, that's a shame. Okay.
I sure would have liked to seen him, man.
Yeah.
He was great. My cousin went, and she was right there on the front row, and Elvis kneeled down and kissed her, and she passed out. She was like that. And I said, "Why come you to pass out?" She said, "I was just thrilled so much, I just couldn't stand it, and I just passed out."
Oh my.
I laughed at her about that. Of course, a lot of them done that.
Yeah, a lot of them done.
A lot of them that passed out when he kissed her. And that's amazing, you know, somebody kiss you and you pass out on it.
It never happened to me. Nothing.
Elvis was always that way. He was, the women was crazy about him.
Yeah.
And he's always was famous every way you look.
Yeah.
And still is.
Yeah.
He still is. See, when he left here at 14, I was 17, and I was going back to school and here, and I never did get a chance to talk to him. Didn't know where he went, actually, when he went to Memphis. But when he started getting famous, then I could get in touch with him, but I couldn't. They wouldn't let me talk to him. And of course, my brother went by there several times and stopped, and he knowed Elvis's uncle that was on the gate.
Yeah.
And he went up and he said, "Oh Lordy, Mississippi Slim," said, "Elvis is here and said he'd like to see you. Said he's back on a rest period." Well, brother said, "I sure would like to see him." So he went up there and he told Elvis that I said that I hoped he'd get along okay, and it looks like he's doing great, and I think so much of him, and if he ever was in Tupelo, to come by and see me or let me know. And I left a message there, but he never did come back to Tupelo that I know anything about. I moved out then from Tupelo and went to Fulton, and then after he got sick, I tried to call him when he got sick, and I lived on a farm up there in Fulton. I had 87 acres up there, and I wanted him to come up and stay with me some while he was sick, and we would probably slip off and go fishing together, you know, and that way I lived away from anybody, and they probably wouldn't have known it unless he got seen or something.
Yeah.
And of course, I never did get the message to him. I know he'd come. He told my brother to tell me hi, and my brother, when he come home the second year, Elvis sent him a Christmas card and told him to tell James that I said hi, that I'd like to see him. But if I'm ever down that way, I'll look him up. And of course, it never did work out.
That's a shame.
Yeah,
sure is. James, I want to thank you for your time. I learned a lot from you today, and I appreciate you talking to us. I'm going to leave you now. I'm going to say goodbye to you.